Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney, James, the Fat Man Stevens,
Hello,
and Rob, the old guy.
You're listening to the Rob Charney Show.
Yeah, it's me. I'm here.
So we're going to bring out our traditional segment called Bring Out the Dead. We talk about some of the loved celebrities and other people that have passed. The namesake for the Marshall Tucker Band died at 99 years of age, which congratulations to him.
Huh.
Lynn Broomer dies. He's a WXRT radio disc jockey. Chicago's own passed away. And a man I have a love-hate relationship musically and politically, David Crosby, died at 81. Legendary musician. I will give him that. From Crosby, Stills, and Nash. If you haven't heard him, you should take a look. And one of my all-time favorite articles, just because it's so ridiculous. Here's the headline: Lobbyists' $1,100 payment to El Monte council member for breast augmentation lawful. FPPC rules. So apparently lawful. So apparently you can't give them money unless they want a boob job. This is so hilarious to me on so many levels, because I was thinking, I have friends that won't buy me a beer, a cigar, a bud. No, but some friend bought this chick boobs. I just think that's hilarious. No comment?
The internet strikes again.
So what,
when we have a disaster, it really goes.
So let me repeat that. I have friends that won't buy me a beer, a cigar, or anything else, and somebody buys her boobs. I mean, that's amazing. I'd take a Budweiser over. It's just ridiculous. I am happy.
My initial thought on that one was that seems kind of a cheap boob job.
How much do boob jobs cost? I've never looked into them. I'll have to.
I have no idea, but somehow under $2,000 for a pair of augmentation doesn't sound right.
So you're saying she went to the Earl Shives' house of boob jobs?
That's right.
There's a reference that's going to date me.
So let's get this one out of the way, John. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay. So, Rob.
Yes.
I'm going to throw this at you because I already started this with John. Alec Baldwin is actually being charged.
Yes.
2 counts involuntary manslaughter. 1 charge of the involuntary manslaughter has the enhancement of a firearm being used in commission.
Yes.
Which adds, and I had to clarify this with John and Ryan, which adds a mandatory 5-year jail sentence.
So I have an update to that story.
What do you think about that? Okay, we'll get into the update, but I want to hear what Rob says, and then we'll throw in everything.
So I'm assuming that the charges are probably going to change as time goes on a little bit. It's typical of most prosecutors. They throw everything plus the kitchen sink at whomever they wish to, and then they go, okay, well, knock me down with something that you want to go lower with, and we'll go for it. So I still have a problem. I don't the charges are just whatever that they want to charge. So that doesn't bother me at all. It still kind of bothers me. I want to know a little more detail about this whole thing, because now I saw an interview with him where he said he didn't pull the trigger. He just cocked the hammer and it went. Well, yeah, that's possible. I mean, if you don't cock the hammer all the way back to the notch, it is a possibility. It's just like fanning. There is a possibility that it could fall forward with enough force, and depending on the style of hammer that's on the gun, that it could go off. I mean, it on the old style original Colt single action armies, that was a thing. It did happen. So, yeah. All right.
I heard,
John, what's your update?
Well, let me give my opinion real quick. I was listening to a number of people talk about this in the film industry, and I have to side with them. My caveat to what I'm about to say is the fact is that anybody who uses a firearm should have some level of gun safety. The issue is the fact the armorer's sole job is to make sure that no live ammunition has been entered into the equation. They're at the beginning and the end of everything. And my problem, in my opinion, the armorer should be charged with a murder because she wasn't able to control the scene. Somebody brought live ammunition, should have never been on there, should have been separated. Something should have been happening. But according to TMZ, the bastion of all celebrity news, apparently, says Alec Baldwin will not be charged for shooting Rust director. Alec Baldwin will not be charged with shooting of Rust director Joel Souza, despite the fact he was hit by the same bullet the DA says was fired recklessly and killed the cinematographer, and now he knows why. So apparently he was being charged with 2 murders, not just 1.
Well, I don't think he's only charged with 1, and because the director was not killed. He was wounded.
Ah, that's true.
Right. So it was the shot that went through her that he got wounded with.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so we'll see what shakes out. And the armorer is being charged exactly the same.
Yeah.
So obviously she ran a really poor discipline as far as ammunition control goes in that environment. And maybe it's lack of her skill set. I don't know what to think of it. I just think it's wrong.
So I have a question, and I don't know how you would prove this, especially by my assumption is that she just ran a shit show. If somebody somehow knew what firearms were going to be involved and brought a box of ammunition, they would have to prove that it came outside of her control. So this is what I would do if I ran the show. I would have a inventory of every gun and every ammo. So my question is, was that inventoried? Was that so this whole thing just makes no sense to me. Like how this happened to this day, I still confused in how this happened.
So there's also ammunition that if you ever looked at factory produced blank ammunition, it's very obvious that it's a blank versus an actual loaded round.
Yeah.
Now there are rounds that are placed in Hollywood guns for close-ups that show a bullet, so that when you do a close-up of the revolver, you can see that it looks like there's ammunition in the cylinder. But they don't fire, they don't go bang, they're inert, so there is no danger of that happening. So what my problem is that somehow I still have just a whole bunch of trouble with the way the armorer ran that Rust site. So we'll find out more as this gets closer to trial or once it gets in trial. But it's very disappointing.
Another question on this, and I still don't understand why Baldwin is being charged, though. I mean, granted, he did pull the trigger.
He had the gun in his hand.
But here's my honest question: is my
it's
assumption?
It's involuntary manslaughter. I mean, in other words, it's an accident, basically, a step up from an accident. Yeah. And so, again, we'll see where it goes. I think it's just the pressure is being felt to charge something.
I agree with you there, Rob, is that the pressure is there to be, somebody needs to be charged. Somebody needs to be held accountable.
Is this a Hollywood DA doing it, or is this where Rust was shooting?
It's where Rust is shooting. Yeah. Hollywood has nothing to do with it.
No, this is the state that they were shooting in, shooting the film in, to be clear.
Correct.
Pushing this whole thing through. I think somebody needs to be held accountable. This poor girl lost her life. I think that this is also a push to put pressure on Hollywood to really get their shit together, because it really sounds like this whole set was just a disaster as far as safety is concerned. Do I necessarily think Alec Baldwin needs to spend 5 years in jail? No, not necessarily if they can settle it with the family. But yeah, there needs to be accountability here. We've seen this happen in Hollywood more than once, so there should be people out there when they're dealing with live rounds and guns that can actually kill you to take it seriously. I mean, if this was a set where there was explosions and it took out a bunch of people via shrapnel or actually being involved in the explosion, I expect the same thing.
I just
You know,
still
you're dealing with dangerous shit. Take it seriously.
I still
Fucking A.
holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, Ryan comes in last minute. I still have a problem blaming Baldwin because his job was not to check. Now, there's a couple of questions. Well, hold on. Wait, let me
It's
finish.
everybody's fucking
What?
job to check.
Well, hold on. You're
Yeah, I
talking.
agree, Ryan.
So here's the issue, and this is what I'm going to bring up. When you're talking about a movie set, and this is my guess, they hired the armorer to limit the liability. The more people check, the more people have touching the live rounds and ammunition, insert additional liability. So you're going to have to. So the only way to do that is when they hand you. So that's the problem. Is where does the liability end? If something happens and goes off, it's not. It could be the actor's fault and other. So traditionally, my understanding is everything began and ended with the armorer. They're the one that had the massive liability.
Well, okay. As much as I am very much glad the armorer is being charged as well, I basically, and as much as I fucking like Alec Baldwin, man, I've like him as an actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but that's my opinion about every actor. I don't care what you do in your personal life. But if the amount of actors that they have interviewed since this whole thing that have said almost to a man, like no, like gun safety, if we have guns on the set, was very paramount. We were getting safety briefings all the time. You check the weapon, or somebody checks it right in front of you, you know, because you're and we're talking about things where there was never anything close to live rounds on the set. I mean, like the armor and everybody knew it was safe. Now you're absolutely right. I mean, it is a limited liability kind of thing. It begins and ends with the armorer. And I'm glad that she's being charged with it also. But at the same time, take aside the producer part of Alec Baldwin's role in that film, just as an actor. He's worked with guns before on movie sets. I'm sure they weren't playing it fucking fast and loose, you know, on those other ones. He got complacent.
My honest guess, and I don't know how much we can continue to harp on this, is my honest guess is every set he's been on up until this one, the armorer actually did their job, so he never considered checking.
I think part of the armorer's job is getting the actors to be used to checking that gun. I think that's part of the armorer's job.
Hey, so I have a question. If anybody listens to this and happen to ever be involved in Hollywood, what is the SOP for actually handing firearms? Are they actually, you know, is you guys in some sort of drum circle checking ammo? I'm kind of curious. What's the actual standards for this? Because I'm guessing. I've never read anything about how it happens. And I do want to bring up, guess not only is Rust the movie the SHOT Show, but apparently the San Antonio Transportation Security Administration discovered an 84 millimeter caliber weapon checked in luggage.
What the hell is an 84 millimeter?
An anti-tank gun weapon.
Somebody was trying to check in what they're calling an 84 millimeter projectile into the luggage.
Yeah, we don't see that caliber of weapon very often. Thank God. Mancha said that today the TSA officers at San Antonio Airport discovered this 84 millimeter caliber weapon and check-in luggage. It was undeclared as required when traveling with firearms. How do you declare an anti-tank gun? Hey, stewardess, I'm flying. I'm flying.
Jonathan, you're siloning. The whole paragraph.
Dallas Airport. I'm sorry, he was kind of
San Antonio is what he said.
I sent you guys the link, but basically, like, how do you not like? I'm just curious. When you check in, when you get to the guy in the cap at the check-in luggage stand, it's like, yeah, I want to check in an 84 millimeter rocket. I
don't think you really tell them that you're doing that. You just try to do it.
So yeah, I'm looking at the
there.
Yeah, the Carl Gustav 84 millimeter recoilless rifle.
Was he sending it to Ukraine? here's my.
So, here's
It
There you
this.
go,
it's-
Ukraine.
It's
That's
legal.
that's a bazooka for all intents and purposes.
Oh, here it is. It's legal to own anti-tank rifles in Texas as long as the owner registers the explosive weapon with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and explosives and clear intense background checks. Man,
Well, yeah,
Gotta love
there's like
Texas.
4 people that the ATF is gonna call if that kind of a caliber goes off. They've got their phone numbers just right there on their desk already. You don't have to worry about those guys because there's 4 of them.
Was it Bob again? No, it was Tom.
Oh, fucking Tom! I told that guy to relax. No, I mean, when you start getting into automatic rifles, explosives, the licensing you're going through is so much that at the end of it, no one's worried about your shit.
So you guys want a kind of a top 10 list real quick?
Sure.
This is Rock's most
No.
hated records.
Who's?
Rob?
Rock's, as in
Oh, I
rock
think it's
music.
Rob's.
Yeah, I did too.
This is your most hated records here, Rob.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Let's see if I agree with it.
let's see if he's heard any of these. So Aerosmith's "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing"
Oh God.
from
Yeah,
the Aerosmith soundtrack.
I'm over that. Yeah, I was over that when they came out with it.
The Armageddon soundtrack.
Yeah.
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 So Allman,
Worked great for that movie.
so Allman and Woman, Two the Hard Way. Allman is Greg, whose band broke up in 1976. Woman is Cher. This is not one I remember or have ever heard of.
I am so glad I missed
That's when they were
one
together.
half of the Allman Brothers. Wait, Greg Allman dated Cher?
Apparently,
Oh, wow. Poor bastard.
See, this is one I disagree with. The Beach Boys' Kokomo. From the and they show a picture.
Dude, I couldn't tell you. I've heard of all 114 of their songs or whatever it is. I couldn't tell you what album any of those songs were on.
So
I know the songs. I just don't know what album either. Yeah,
is this that they're talking about the whole album?
Yeah, so
or just the song.
So here it is. So Beach Boys Kokomo. The last time the Beach Boys had a #1 was back in 1966 with landmark Good Vibrations. 22 years later, they returned to the top with this simple-minded ball of fluff tied to a hit Tom Cruise movie about
I was going to
bartenders.
say it's Cocktail, right? That's all I'm thinking of is fucking Cocktail. I love it.
Oh, by the way, this is from classicrockingculture.com.
Oh man, anybody wants to see Tom Cruise before he was really Tom Cruise, go watch Cocktail.
Is this the buck-toothed Tom Cruise or the one that's been fixed?
That was slightly more bucktooth Tom Cruise. It had what's his face? Guy from FX, Brown, something Brown.
So the Clash cut the crap. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Clash personally. Not my thing.
Yeah, I got to do a little bit of the Clash. Also, one of those couldn't tell you what albums of theirs were out.
So I'm gonna switch around a little bit. Bob Dylan's self-portrait. Not a Dylan fan.
I'd agree with that one.
And
I do like me some Bob Dylan, but I'm more of a blonde on blonde.
so here's one probably everybody would agree with. Kiss. Music from the Elder. It's 80s Kiss. You can.
Oh, okay.
And anything with John Lennon and Yoko Ono together, I'll say is horrible, but this one's John Lennon and Yoko Ono, unfinished music, #1, Two Virgins.
So the other day, my lady comes up to me laughing hysterically with her phone in her hand, and usually I get to watch some stupid ass TikTok video after that. But she's like, "You got to watch this thing," and it was basically the story of John Lennon gets to go on some TV, might have been like Ed Sullivan or something like that, but gets to go on some TV broadcast and play with Chuck Berry.
Oh, I love this clip.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest things of all time, and I don't think I'd ever really seen it, or at least with the context of knowing what was behind it before. But he gets to play with Chuck Berry, and John Lennon adored Chuck Berry. I mean, it's like there is no John Lennon without Chuck Berry. So he gets to go on and play with him, and they're doing, I don't even remember what song, but it was during the time that he was dating Yoko. Yeah, really, if you can, please go look up this clip. But he's playing with Chuck Berry, and Yoko is there, and he wants to, or she wants to like be like a part of the performance or whatever. So she's in the background, like hitting the shit out of some drums. And I think it was Bill Burr, the comedian, that told this story, who probably told it 1,000 times better than I'm going to. But she is like not getting the attention that she wants during this performance, and she goes and grabs a mic and does the crazy Yoko, like weird, crazy yelling, scratchy sounds that she does. And
you mean her singing?
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying. And I mean, just like eyes rolling in the back of her head, starts going nuts. The guys in the booth like immediately recognize, and I mean, they must have been diving for that fucking button to turn off her mic.
The best part,
and the look on Chuck Berry's
Yes.
face when he looks over, he like looks over at her, like he's staring right at John Lennon. They're using like the same microphone, and he just goes, "The hell was that?" I mean, real quick, because he's a professional. But just throws daggers at this woman. Like, bitch, I'm gonna kill you after we're done with this performance.
It was literally like, I'm gonna cut this bitch, because his face was, you could see the rage, and he's playing. He's like, motherfucker, stop your bitch.
His eyes went buggy, and he looked right at her, and then he kind of for like a millisecond looks back at John, like, "Fuck you bring this bitch for?"
What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's like, this chick with you? Is she with you?
And Chuck Berry's defense, Paul probably said the same thing.
Oh man, and you know, all the guys were watching like on TV later on, just like, you see Chuck, now you get it. But oh man, go look up that clip on YouTube later. That is worth it.
Oh, I got another one. Here's in the a shocking, there needs to be a news article about it. This is from newsnationnow.com. Cleaning products you should never mix together. That's an actual article?
It should be a good one then, because there's a lot of things you shouldn't mix together.
Yeah, maybe I should tell you about that time that I poured a bunch of bleach in my toilet, like all the bleach in my toilet. And I was just like, I'm going to let it sit there for a little while. Let it do its work. About an hour later, I go in and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to flush this bleach, but I got to take a piss. I don't want to waste water. Let me just go ahead and urinate in this toilet bowl full of bleach. So I mustard gassed my fucking self because the ammonia from urine and bleach, not a great idea.
No, you
All
never
of a
mix the two
sudden,
together.
My sack started burning, and then shortly thereafter, my eyes, in which I was like, I need to get the hell out of this room.
So how was this at some point that you knew James? Were you out on your own? Ryan, did you know James at this point?
Oh yes, very much so. Yeah.
So
we were hanging out. I think I was already.
No, this was while I was living here. Maybe just somewhere between 5 to 10 years ago.
So when James told you, if you ever think of doing something stupid, give me a call, never.
Well, this is one of those that didn't occur to me was stupid until
after.
It was fucked up because I knew immediately, oh, I'm experiencing a chemical reaction. So I put 2 and 2 together so fast, and then I left and I flushed and obviously and did all that kind of stuff. My lady goes in there about an hour later, comes out like, why is my down bits burning? And I'm like, oh, so you caught some residual of what happened to me earlier.
Why is it's like, this is what Grandpa talked about. So bleach and rubbing alcohol creates chloroform, a colorless, strong-smelling liquid that evaporates in the gas. Warning, this is highly toxic. Bleach, and this is bleach and ammonia, what Ryan just so eloquently discussed.
Right.
Bleach and vinegar. Says you should never You should never mix bleach with anything but plain water, but if you mix it with vinegar, it can create chlorine bleach, which is colorless sodium hydrochloride.
Oof.
So it says 2 different types of drain cleaner, hydrogen peroxide and vinegar, which is one I never thought about mixing. It creates pericritic acid, a corrosive liquid that can be very irritating to the eyes. That's it? Well, at least we got a good story out of
the
it.
gas is one that you really need to be careful about. Although, man, my lady loves cleaning with vinegar, so I'm going to let her know, like, hey, vinegar and apparently anything else will kill you.
I'm just more amused.
Or blind you.
Right, or blind you,
blind
or
you.
both.
Yeah.
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 I'm just amused that you're one of the few people I know who talk about if I talk about World War I with you, actually have an idea how painful it was.
Oh man, yeah. It was immediate regret.
I bet.
Not a good one.
So I look it up immediately and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, this is why. So I have a list here of a few things that for you movie guys, you guys are movie guys, it's the and I don't like the term it uses, but it's called the 10 most iconic last words in movies.
Huh.
It's
Trinity's
iconic
is
is kind of something where, well, all right, let's
Like a character's last words before they die, or the last words of the movie.
Last words of the movie, supposedly.
Gotcha.
All right. So it starts out with one that's really obvious. It goes along like says, the last words was, the truth is, I am Iron Man. Right. So that was Tony Stark and Iron Man. So we know that. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one. It wasn't the airplanes. It was Beauty who killed the Beast. What was that in?
Airplane.
No.
Air Force One. No, I don't know.
King Kong.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, probably the original from what, 33?
That's actually a movie I've never
probably.
seen.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look it up again.
This one's obvious too. If you remember the movie, it's like, forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was some iconic last words.
Yeah, that was.
I'll give you that one for damn sure.
Yeah. And a movie I hadn't seen for some reason, but Life Moves Pretty Fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it.
I know it,
familiar.
but I can't.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I actually don't like that movie.
Yeah.
I'm the one person
then,
from my
all right.
generation.
So which one of the number of movies for this one? The name's Bond, James Bond. Where did that first pop up? Really?
I mean, it wasn't Dr. No. It had probably was later.
Yeah, Casino Royale.
Oh,
It's the movie
That
that
was-
came in from.
Oh, as far as like the last words.
Yeah.
Because he had.
Okay, that confused me because I was thinking the comedy.
that's
No.
what I thought at first.
The
too.
one
I was
with,
like, wait a minute.
Right. What was that? Not Monty Python.
That's with
I know
the guy who married his daughter
the.
is in it.
Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he plays
Yeah,
the bad
no,
guy,
this-
if I remember correctly.
Right.
Which movie are we talking about?
Casino Royale, the comedy.
Oh,
Yeah.
the original from
Yeah,
like
Woody
with
Allen.
Yeah.
Peter Sellers, not Peter Sellers.
Woody
No,
Allen.
wait.
Yes,
According to
Peter Sellers
John,
was
it
in there
says
with
Woody Allen. So.
I'm almost positive.
I'm
but I
thinking of
could
the
be wrong.
one with David Niven.
Oh no, that's going way back. Anyway, all right. Here's another one. I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Oh yeah,
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hannibal
Oh,
Lecter, Silence of the Lambs.
that was
yeah.
great.
You know, I still
Yeah.
haven't seen that movie
Whoa.
How have you not seen Silence of the Lambs?
because I was forbidden to see it as a kid
Bolton?
when it came out, which I wanted to.
Well,
and I
as
just
a
never
kid,
seen
it's not a
since.
kid movie, but as an adult,
John,
you
you
have
can't hear
permission to watch
Yeah,
it.
you've been an adult for a long time now, dude.
I somehow no. This is the part. Somehow I wasn't allowed to see a Cannibal Lecter movie, but I saw Cool World, so I'm not quite sure where the mix is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
I
Which
don't
one's
know.
going to do more damage?
All right, the next one.
Howard
I
the
think-
Duck.
Yeah, the next one. I think I'll have a drink. All right. Think about this one. This one's Elliot Ness in
Oh, Untouchables.
The Untouchables.
God, I haven't
Right.
seen that movie in forever.
Okay.
That was a pretty heavy rotation for James and I.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah.
All right. How about and this is one again one I never saw. I don't quite understand it, but most people are so ungrateful to be alive. But not you, not anymore. Game over.
Oh, the game.
Jigsaw.
Oh yeah.
I know,
Okay.
Jigsaw and Saw.
That would be pretty funny. Those from the game, but no, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Those movies, I didn't really like those movies all that much. They weren't my favorite.
The first one I got it, but it wasn't my favorite. It was just like
Yeah,
okay, here's a
going.
unique kind of a movie.
They just
As soon as they did a sequel, I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing with this. I see where you're going here.
they just
This,
became.
this is insane.
I mean, they were.
Never saw any of them.
It was
It's
torture.
the Fast and Furious of horror movies.
Yeah, it just became
Yeah.
torture porn
Yeah.
for the sake of torture porn. It was like, okay, this is
No,
not
that was
entertaining.
I give that title
That's
solely
Saw.
to Hostel.
Oh, Hostel, definitely Hostel.
Well, I would say that's just the
I was gonna say
genre
Saw,
it's
but,
in, though.
yeah.
I would say it's torture
True,
porn,
I
the
suppose.
genre.
Yeah, I suppose.
Let's see here. I've got two more. So Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part. Williamson set in Seven, another movie I never saw.
What was the movie again?
Seven.
Oh, Seven. Oh,
Wait, no,
okay.
you saw Seven. We saw it together.
Who's you? Me?
Yeah. You and me.
If you
Yeah.
guys haven't seen Seven, if you just don't remember Seven, you should
I
watch
guess I
that
don't
movie again.
Okay.
It's
I don't remember it.
It's starring Jennifer Aniston's ex-husband, Brad Pitt.
That's an
Well,
odd way to say that.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
Why is there Ernest Hemingway quote in the movie? It's the last. Okay, well, never mind. Okay, how about this one? This is a classic. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Before you comment anymore, you know it's going to be a start to beautiful friendship? This. Today's show is brought to you by Audacity, the unforgettable party game for mischievous people. The game where dignity is overrated. Make sure you go to ODDASSITY.com or selected stores. Make sure you use MadTrio, all caps, all one word, for 10% off your final order. Make sure you tell Miss Audacity herself that the MadTrio sent you. Do you want to keep up to date with the maddest of the mad at the MadTrio podcast? Make sure you go to themadtrio.com or check out our social media feeds on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Well,
You just did the podcast equivalent of "Is this product going to kill your children?" Find out tonight at 6.
Yes.
that's right. But he's silent on him through the whole thing, though. It's the
Yeah.
crazy part. Oh well, we'll have to work on his connectivity for next time. So,
And
what was the
old
movie?
Cylon too.
Yeah, an old Cylon.
Well,
What was
fuck,
the
I am
movie?
old.
What was the quote again? Since we all forgot.
I think this is the beginning of a beautiful
Oh.
friendship.
Yeah.
Come on, come
I
on.
feel like I should
Come
know
on.
it.
You
And I'm
guys
either
all
going to be
should know this
embarrassed I
one.
haven't seen it, or
Yeah,
that I
Frankly,
forgot
I
it.
don't give a damn.
Casablanca.
I actually I haven't seen that movie. That one and
You haven't
Lawrence of
seen-
Arabia. That one and Lawrence of Arabia are these two glaring, like classics in my head that I'm fucking embarrassed to tell
Wait,
people I haven't seen.
How
it.
have you not seen Casablanca? I've seen it.
Exactly.
I
That is
watched-
one of the great mysteries of life.
I
That's
watched
his point.
I watched that and Grapes of Wrath back to back.
Ooh.
I don't recommend
I haven't
it.
seen Grapes of Wrath either. I don't know if I had
Uh.
that much of a desire for that one.
I watched
Yeah.
it. It was good. It's one of those you could see it a couple of times in your life and you're good.
Is that was the best of times, worst of times? No, that was Tale of Two Cities.
Yes, Tale of Two Cities.
Oh.
So anyway, something you should. Two movies you got to see then.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
guess who just escaped copyright a couple of weekends ago?
Mhm.
Sherlock Holmes.
When did he really?
Watching
Who?
the
I'm sorry.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, really?
So
Nice.
so this is from The
Well,
Verge.
Expect the horror movie version of it soon.
Oh, dude, that would be fucking
Nice.
amazing.
Be like Winnie the
Nice.
Pooh.
Nice, yes, I agree with that. Definitely Winnie the Pooh.
Blood and
Still
honey.
that one, but Blood and Honey, yes.
Oh,
I
love it.
swear I still can't believe that.
That's what happens when you let the Reds go.
Just like, oh no.
Well, see,
See,
You
that
gotta be
that
kidding.
to
The-
me, that is why the internet is forever an amazing, beautiful, beautiful thing, is because of shit like that. You know, there's a lot that we have to. There's a big other side to that sword that's real sharp. But damn it, every now and again the internet gets it right.
by the way, just to I haven't seen or heard anything, but I would not be surprised. One of the reasons they did it is because Disney's one of the sole reasons why copyright in the United States is like 100 and something years, because Disney kept trying to hold on to the mouse until they realized they could trademark it and sue the ever living shit out of anybody who uses it. Look
Yeah.
it up; it's actual court case. It is.
No, yeah, it's they went through and spent a fortune to make sure that copyright laws are what they are, and the billions of dollars they made from it is insane.
Yeah, you gotta respect them in that aspect, but
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. They are playing the long game and winning.
So that's why when everybody saw that Disney bought Star Wars, everybody who's a Disney fan, it's like, oh, we already knew they were the dark side.
Well, and everyone that was a Star Wars fan, I love this because it's how marketing and shit like this works. All the Star Wars fans universally, what? F you. You'll never see 1 cent of my money. How you looking now, nerds?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, tell how much Disney bucks have you spent? Even if you hated it, you watched it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Star Wars nerds over the years that have bought every release version of Star Wars ever. I'm pretty sure they have three or four versions of the rebranded special edition.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I have?
and-
I have the originals.
Yeah.
That's it. The original 3.
And the original cut of the original 3, if I'm not mistaken. You don't even have, or is it the special edition?
No, I couldn't get the.
You have the one from the 90s, the box set.
Yes.
Yeah, light side or dark side?
Um,
Is that a stupid question? Is the one with
I'm
like
trying
when
to
you put the 3 tapes together, it's Vader?
I'm trying to remember. No, I think it's one of those box sets. I'd have to pull it out of a box right now. That's where it's
Yeah.
at. In the
I
moment,
had
but-
the silver edition.
Yeah, I think that's what I have. The silver one.
I know a number of years
Yeah.
ago they came out with like the special editions or another steelbox version that actually contained an original cut of the original theatrical release. The problem is it wasn't cleaned up, it wasn't juiced up. It literally just looked like they found an old VCR from a copy from 1989. It was
That's probably
awful.
what they did.
That's probably what they did, and I've recently seen the original cuts, and yeah, I mean it's obviously unmastered because when Lucas went back and mastered it in the 90s, that's when he changed the very few little things, added a little extra on Mos Eisley. Obviously he added Greedo shooting, which the argument from back in the day of Han shot first, is inaccurate. It poses the wrong question, or begs the wrong question. Han is the only one that shot.
Yes.
Greedo didn't shoot last or first. He never got a shot off because Han murdered him in his seat.
Yes, he did.
That was the one thing I never understood exactly why they did it. I always thought that was the perfect introduction to the Han Solo character. Then
It sets the character up in a way different kind of light.
and it's got to be like after the fact, like, okay, let's make him kind of the reluctant hero type, which is not his character. At least it wasn't originally.
Yeah, oh no, yeah, it was reluctant hero, and also just like this man is a pirate.
Yeah.
This is a space pirate. You know, he is not a good guy, and it's because of that makes the turn so much better to me. You know, when he goes from just kind of psychopathic for all intents pirate to no, I found something worth fighting for, and yada yada yada. It makes that much better.
I don't know.
But I hate the idea of being able to retroactively change your work like that. Nobody has ever went and picked up all the copies of a book and, of a novel and changed it, like that. It's not yours anymore. The story isn't yours anymore.
Well, that's actually not completely true. J.R.R. Tolkien did it to The Hobbit originally after he wrote.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, there's an original edition
But
of the Hobbit.
But the thing I'll add is that actually added to the book because you had a lot of lore added. I don't see the point of doing any of the changes to Star Wars because it's just, to me, it ruined something I loved as a kid.
It changed it. It didn't add anything. It changed it. I mean, yeah, you want to throw a couple of aliens in the foreground or something. I mean, like, okay, but it didn't fit with the original. It didn't fit with the original what do you call it, Jim Henson Studios vibe. It looked out of place. And then, okay, we really needed 5 extra minutes in Jedi of the Ewoks dancing around.
Right?
Time to duck and cover, the bombs are coming down.
So this is what I'm going to add is the fact it turned it from like an outer space Western into like a Mel Brooks comedy, in my opinion, by adding all these useless funny scenes that, in my opinion, just didn't add anything to the movie but ruin it to me.
That's the thing, is it I guess I'm speaking from a place. It's like you changed my childhood, like you took a memory from me and said, no, that's not accurate.
You bastard.
That's how it feels. And
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the last generations,
Dude.
that 35-ish age range that actually saw the originals and remembers them. They're like, I think people younger than me aren't even going to remember what the original cut was, or that there was an original cut.
No, I guarantee it. They don't. There's not a whole lot of people.
I mean, look, there's a lot of fans out there, and there's a lot of people who are going to show their kids and go out of their way to find that Blu-ray with the original cut, and or at least YouTube the differences. But that was my Star Wars. Like, I wasn't from the 70s when the movies came out. I didn't see it in the theaters, but when my uncle was like, hey, you got to watch these movies, that was what I watched. So me at like 7 years old, like, this is the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. To see those changes done, I think, hurt me just as much as the kids from the generation before.
So I'm going to add the next story into the jackasses classification. A Chicago bookstore owner says a customer returned $800 worth of books after using them to stage a home for the holidays.
What?
That one sale was a third of our rent.
I'm sorry, that I'm trying to make sense of the sentence you said.
A Chicago bookstore owner says a customer returned $800 worth of books after using them to stage a home for the holidays.
Oh. So as either a real estate or some kind of staging that they use
to stage
a house, probably
I
for a
see,
sale
or show.
something. Yeah.
Because if you take a look, like all these Hollywood people, like I heard in one of these interviews that, like, this one lady, I wish I remember who it was, had all these books behind her, and she mentioned, oh no, I had just somebody pick out some random books and it fit, and it looks, like I have this giant library.
Huh.
Apparently it's not uncommon, but I'd be pissed if $800.
Well, yeah, if you're in the business of trying to sell some books for a living, and all of a sudden somebody brings back $800 worth of books that they weren't going to read just to use for staging, it's kind of a pisser.
That's kind of a dick move.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, dude, you do that to a small business?
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. I mean, they could have gone to a Goodwill or something, and there's stacks and stacks and stacks of books they could have gotten for $10 there.
I mean, or shit, just be honest with the guy. Like, hey, look, I'm going to give you something for like collateral, if you will, even if it's $800 in cash. This isn't a sale. I'm going to return these in like a week. You know, so you're not sitting there riding the high of like, holy shit, we just sold a lot of books.
I guess that's why you would say all sales are final.
Well, you know that, and that's the problem when you're a small retailer to say that, because people say, hey, what, you know, especially if they're shopping for Christmas time, you know, it doesn't matter if it's clothes, socks, underwear, books, something's not going to fit, right? May it be a book that nobody wants to read or whatever. And then all of a sudden you tell them, no, if you're going to buy this from me, you can't return it. Well, then you may not get the sale.
I bet nobody's buying $800 worth of underwear.
I was going to say this person probably went to a bunch of different bookstores and didn't get books from places that said all sales are final.
Yeah. I don't suspect there are very many that say that anyway.
So yeah, probably not, because you're probably right, Rob, in the fact that like, hey, look, we just want the sale, and it's never a big purchase. You know, sure, you get a few individual purchases, but not one guy comes back and returns all the shit that he bought. Right. So they're probably just like, oh, great, this is great. This guy's you know stocking his house full of books or whatever, not realizing on the back end he had no intention of keeping them. But like, I mean, what's the point of not being honest?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty dishonest type of thing for anybody to do, and yet I'll let you know. Oh, bring yours back.
Sign this thing. If I don't bring them back in good condition in this time frame, then you keep my money.
Yeah. Well, I think what they should have done is, you know, like come in, said, hey, be up, like you said, be upfront with them. Hey, I need these books. Here's a certain amount of money. Or if they want all the money for the books, you say, this is what we're going to do. And you work out some amount where they get compensated for it, like maybe $100.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, don't be a dick.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure if you were honest with the bookstore and said, look, I need books for a staging. Do you have a bunch of books that you're not selling?
Sure.
That would be easier for me just to stage with. I'm sure they could have come up with something.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Damn, I mean, dude, you can go on Amazon and buy like literally an entire bookshelf facade of books that are made specifically for that kind of thing. I mean, dude, I've been to some house showings before. I mean, they've some of them have literally had those types of things. Just, oh, that's obviously a picture of books. It doesn't even fool anybody. It's just to give you the idea, hey, here's what this shelf looks like with books on it.
So as
it doesn't need to be more than that.
I actually have experience with this as somebody who's trying to sell a home. Yeah, they just pack the home full of random stuff that looks nice, and you know, it's not like anybody's going to take a look and see, you know, what books they have in.
I mean, shit, I would have like a 9-year-old kid draw like, hey, draw me a fire on this big piece of paper and then just like tape it inside the fireplace.
Yeah.
There you go.
On the other hand, I have to admit, is if you wanted to be a troll, it would be hilarious to sneak in your friend's house who, during one of those openings, to stick a book in there. You could really harass them.
Like a subversive book?
Yeah, just something random, you know, like the history of Playboy.
Like Mein Kampf on his bookshelf or something.
Oh, man. Yeah.
What if you didn't like him?
And then when people take it off the bookshelf, they notice the swastika that's etched in the wood behind it. I mean, how bad are we trying to fuck with your friend here, John?
Yeah.
Well, talk about getting flack. Apparently Mars, the candy company, it got a lot of flack for having sexy M&Ms, so now they're getting changed back to just ordinary. The green M&M.
I think he's in.
You know, you sounded like a soda fountain machine there for
very interesting, John.
That was
I was so interested. I have to hear it again.
You see, it's on my end. It sounded perfect. So
I'm sure.
And the transition.
In my head, it sounded great. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
And the transition.
Ryan totally understood it too. And that's the sad part.
He speaks internet Cylon, no, he speaks baud rate.
I guess.
Mars, apparently the owners of M&M, got a lot of flack for having one sexy green M&M. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's picking on the female M&M. Apparently, instead of stilettos, they're having her in sneakers. So apparently, people were giving them flack for having a sexed up M&M.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Which I thought.
And what are they doing about it?
They're changing
people just have nothing else to do in their lives but to jump on stupid bandwagons like that.
Pretty much, instead of having stilettos, according to this article, she's getting like pumps and, you know, flats and shoes. And I really want to see the one person that sees that candy and goes, "That's that you're pumping sexuality," but it's chocolate candy. I'm it's not
Dude,
like
they used to pump sexuality to us in our cartoons all the day.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
This is the same thing they're doing with the Space Jam and what was it, Babs?
yes,
Bunny?
Yeah, Babs. Forget about 19. I submit to you, 1976, if I'm not mistaken. Robin Hood cartoon, Maid Marian. That was a fox, not a hot chick fox, like a legitimate animal fox.
there was a pun there.
That every single kid that I knew was like, I would have banged that fox. We're not talking Jessica Rabbit, who's like a person.
Yeah.
We're talking like this is how furry fetishes got started.
Oh Lord.
And violate a law at least in 47 states of the United States.
Well, it's not illegal if you're wearing a costume.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, man.
You may, however, not get that deposit back.
Yeah, no, but Disney knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to go that far, there's a ton of stuff like Betty Boop, Wonder Woman. If you take a look
Hey,
at some of the early Wonder Woman
those
stuff.
are outliers because Betty Boop was made to be a pinup girl, and the guy that invented Wonder Woman was into bondage.
Still, my favorite thing to tell everybody who loves Wonder Woman and who's one of the modern comic people, it's like, Wonder Woman's easy to defeat. Like, oh no, she's tough. It's like, really? Bind her wrists. Like, no, that's not. What? Happens
Yeah,
every
OG
time.
power because the guy was into bondage. Yeah, look it up. It's a crazy history.
It is. It's hilarious too. By the way, I still like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, even though I'm super tired of superhero movies. I actually miss the 80s when you had random action movies that had no plot. I miss that. Give me Fried Green Tomato remake. Give me something. Actually, never mind. I like Jessica Tandy. Give me something, damn it.
I don't know. It's gotten kind of strange as far as I'm concerned.
Speaking of remakes, have any of you been watching Willow?
No.
Speaking of giving Disney my money.
I watched the first episode. I haven't gotten back to it yet.
Okay, so
Hold on. It kind of feels to me like how I felt with the Lord of the Rings show. Just meh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I agree. In about 2
How
episodes,
many
I was pretty
episodes do
much
I have
feeling
to
the
give it?
same. No, that's the thing, man. It's my lady was into it probably a little more than I was up front, and then I was a little hesitant on maybe 2 and 3. And then by about 4, I realized like they still kind of had the original tone very much in mind when they did it, because it's probably been a long time since you've seen Willow, the movie.
Yeah.
Willow
But
was
I remember it.
yeah, no, for sure, but Willow was a comedy, and it was a goofy comedy. You know, like I was a kid when that movie came out, and you know, you probably were. I mean, just a slightly older kid.
James was in his 20s. Let's be honest. He's really.
But it was a goofy movie. The brownies were full on, just I mean slapstick. The sarcasm between Willow and Mad Mardigan and all of that. So when I was starting to kind of remember that, at first I saw like, oh, this is just some like new generation, you know, bunch of kids that is making this thing totally different. It almost feels like a high school, you know, years of Willow or something, and I started to really freaking enjoy it. It's the characters were actually kind of kitschy at first, but they freaking grew on me pretty fast.
I've heard it's really good. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I actually have a backlog of stuff I need to watch.
You know, so I went and looked it up. Now, for some reason in my head, I had that Warwick Davis was a lot older than he is.
Me too.
He's 50 something, right?
Did you
Yeah.
look that up to see how old he actually is?
You damn well know I did, because I was like, wouldn't he be like 60, 70 years old? Something like
No.
he was like 18 apparently when he did
17.
Willow. 17. That's
17.
crazy.
You guys didn't
Yeah.
realize he was a little kid when he played Wicket, that little
Oh, you talking about from Star Wars? Oh, I thought you
Ewok.
were
Oh
young.
yeah, because I totally watched the thing when I was a kid when he took the hat off. No, I didn't even know he was an Ewok other than the credits.
Yeah, he was he was
yeah,
like,
he's I was to say he's
11.
not much. I knew that he wasn't that much older than us. Well, minus you.
yeah,
and
I never knew that he wasn't that much older than us, but
Yeah, he was 17 when he did Willow, so he's barely like what 50, 48,
Yeah,
something
he's
like that
in
these
late
days.
40s. He's no, he's 11 years older than me.
Okay, so about 50.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, he was in his 20s when he did Leprechaun.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I had no idea he was so young when he did those.
And that's actually his daughter in the show. The girl that plays his daughter is actually his daughter.
Right.
And-
Yeah. And
thought
it was
that was
actually
pretty
the
cool.
same girl from the original.
And you know what's
Yeah.
crazy? We ran out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for listening as we round up the show. Anybody have any final comments, questions, queries?
This is from a
was
movie
redundant.
too. Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. Yeah, that's right.
Can you name that movie?
Yes, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, for the MadTrio podcast, as always, thank you for listening.
Good night.
Goodbye.